months after our first WGN Investigates report on questionable spending by South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard, it appears she has been forced off the ballot.
It's formal. After losing her place on the Democratic ballot for Thornton Township supervisor in a frenetic caucus tainted by accusations of election tampering, Tiffany Henyard, the divisive mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and supervisor of Thornton Township, is back in the news, and this time the drama has escalated to a whole new level. Suppression of votes, but the story doesn't end there. With her political career on the brink and her community deeply split, Henyard has filed a lawsuit alleging that the process was rigged to silence her and her supporters. One of the most explosive political confrontations in recent history is now underway.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination in this rarely.
The controversy revolves around Thornton Township's unusual Democratic caucus, which hasn't taken place in decades. Henyard, who had intended to seek re-election, was eliminated off the ballot because of what detractors say were procedural errors intended to prevent her from running. Her rejection was attributed to the rule requiring a full slate of candidates, including a professional assessor, although Henyard doesn't believe it and is calling the entire process a sham, accusing State Senator Napoleon Harris, who headed the caucus and put himself forward as the Democratic candidate for township supervisor, of planning a hostile takeover. "You didn't conduct this process properly, and it's illegal." The Henyard of Napoleon was heard yelling as the 7-minute caucus ended. Yes, you read correctly. Harris and his crew only needed 7 minutes to finalize their slate of. Henyard claims that hundreds of her supporters, many of whom were elderly, were literally left out in the cold by candidates who made them wait outside in freezing temperatures while preventing them from entering the venue under the guise of a party. By the time they were finally permitted inside, the caucus was over.
This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the.
She expressed her frustration to her ally Keith Price, who also said that the fallout has been nothing short of chaotic. According to Henyard, the caucus was an outright act of voter suppression, saying, "This is the biggest fraud I've ever seen. Why mute the voices of the people? If they believed they could defeat me, they would have followed the proper procedure." Denounced the event as illegal and charged Harris with preventing Henyard supporters from attending. Nevertheless, Harris' camp has persisted in maintaining that the caucus was held in a fair manner, in compliance with Illinois law. The procedure was followed, and the results were desired. Harris reacted to the accusations with,
It should have been a primary. It always has been in the history of Thornton Township. Always 10,000 residents come and vote for township.
However, let's take a moment to reflect on how we got here. Henyard's time as Thornton Township supervisor and Dalton mayor has been characterized by scandal after scandal, ranging from claims of extravagant travel expenses paid for by taxpayers to accusations of retaliatory actions against her elected rivals. Just last year, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the Henyard were the center of controversy. Conducted an investigation into Dalton's financial mismanagement under Henyard's direction, finding that the town's general fund balance had fallen from over $5 million in 2022 to a deficit of almost $4 million by the middle of 2024. In addition, Henyard has come under fire for using public funds for personal expenses, including an astounding $43,000 spent on Amazon in a single day.
Because they can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would have went to the polls. But now when I bring the people out, you don't let them in?
Numerous Dalton residents believe that Henyard has put her personal interests ahead of the community's needs, and these controversies have fueled their growing dissatisfaction. At a recent village board meeting, numerous attendees stood with their backs to the speaker as a symbolic expression of their annoyance, but Henyard is unwavering in her insistence that she is the target of a well-planned smear campaign. Like it or not, she said during the meeting, equating her tenacity to that of a past U.S. president, "I'm going to come through on a landslide just like Trump did."
Tonight, if you don't get the Democratic Party's nomination.
What do you mean? I will be victorious tonight. You will see. My people are here. They're not gonna.
Henyard's detractors, however, Don't buy it. Many think her case is more about holding on to power than it is about pursuing justice. I don't feel sorry for her. She's a complete embarrassment and shouldn't be permitted to run for any official government position. As one commentator put it so well, she should not hold any authority at all, according to another, but fraud is fraud. These conflicting responses draw attention to how complicated the situation is, while others believe that the caucus is a flagrant breach of democratic values. Some see it as a necessary step to remove a leader they believe to be corrupt and unfit for office. And then there's the question of what will happen next. The legal battle in Henyard is expected to last for months, if not longer, further dividing a community already dealing with the fallout from her controversial leadership. As taxpayers bear the financial burden of the legal battle, residents who feel their voices have been ignored will become even more frustrated.
It's the right way. Illegal.
She told reporters, "I refuse to sit back and be silent against the injustice," and her legal team is also contesting the rule that disqualified her from the ballot, arguing that it is excessively restrictive and inconsistent with federal court rulings. If successful, this challenge could set a precedent. Henyard isn't backing down, though, and has vowed to fight the caucus results in court, claiming to have video evidence of voter suppression and other irregularities. Despite the controversy, Harris is confident that his slate will win and dismisses Henyard's claims as unfounded. This type of behavior reflects their priorities. Meanwhile, Harris and his supporters are getting ready for their own fight, which could change the way township politics are conducted in Illinois in the future. Harris's spokeswoman stated that the community's most pressing concerns should continue to be the major focus.
People were getting let in at the proper time. We had a caucus, and the people voted for a slate of candidates to represent.
However, what are those important concerns? And what do voters anticipate from their leaders over the coming years? Thoron Township has experienced structural issues, such as inadequate funding for public services. Residents have complained about failing infrastructure, rising property taxes, and the lack of transparency in the use of taxpayer funds. They also believe that local leaders put one's own interests ahead of the requirements of the community. Henyard's detractors contend that her tenure has only made these issues worse, citing her alleged financial mismanagement and the continuous disputes about her spending patterns. Although the specifics of this plan are still unknown, Harris has promised to shift the township's priorities back to financial prudence and restoring public trust.
7 minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township Supervisor, and she left here visibly upset.
Fueling the fire, the use of township buses in Henyard to transport her supporters to the caucus has also generated controversy. Although her team argues that the move was necessary to guarantee participation, others have denounced it as improper and an instance of her exploiting public resources for her own political ends. Many of the buses arrived late, leaving dozens of Henyard supporters stuck outside the site. As the dust settles, some caucus residents quickly pointed out that the enduring consequences of this political confrontation persist. Will voters be more trusting of local government as a result of this court battle? Or will it act as a warning to demand greater accountability? For a community already struggling with financial instability and leadership scandals, the stakes are higher than ever as residents attempt to unravel years of dysfunction in Thoron Township, while determining whether Henyard's divisive leadership is worth preserving or if Harrison's slate represents a new beginning.
New at 10 tonight, renewed calls for a change at the top in South Suburban Dalton.
Of course, we are talking about Mayor Tiffany.
However, other locals are concerned that the growing conflict between Harris and Henyard is overshadowing the actual problems that Thoron Township is experiencing. This goes beyond two politicians vying for power. It's about us, the people, being ignored once more, and it's frustrating. A lot of residents expressed their opinion that the continuous legal drama and political squabbling had made their town a show, diverting focus from more important issues like enhancing public safety. developing economic possibilities, and strengthening schools.
Regular scheduled village hall meeting turned into political antics where the opponents for Mayor Tiffany Henyard say they're counting the days.
But what are the main concerns for many residents of Thornton Township? The answer is obvious. They want accountability. Whether it's Harris's choice to hold a caucus rather than a primary or Henyard's alleged misappropriation of public funds. However, as the legal battle rages and tensions continue to rise, it appears that achieving that goal will become more and more difficult. Rising, so what's left? The truth, which may never fully surface as both sides dig in their respective ways, lies somewhere in the middle. On the one hand, you have a mayor who has built her reputation on defiance and self-promotion and refuses to back down, even in the face of growing opposition. However, you have a community that wants change and will do anything to overthrow the leader they believe has failed them. There is no doubt that the drama is far from done in Henyard as the case progresses. If her legal case is successful, she will be able to return to the ballot, or will Harris and his slate win? The concerns that voters and spectators will be considering in the coming election are whether victory marks the end of Art's political career and, more crucially, what this means for the future of Thornton Township and Detroit. It's your chance now. What do you think about Henyard's lawsuit? Is it a just struggle for justice or a last-ditch effort to maintain power? What about the caucus? Was it a fair process, or do you think Henyard's allegations of election fraud are true? As always, stay tuned for additional updates on this developing political drama. Until the next time, and share your ideas in the comments section below.